Welcome back to our channel, guys. Today is a beautiful day to dive back into the relentless, pulse pounding drama of our favorite gated community. We have so much to unpack. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let us get straight into the emotional wreckage that is about to unfold on our screens. Beyond the Gates, spoilers tease that we are heading into an incredibly dark and deeply emotional chapter. And if you ask me, it is about time we address the massive elephant in the room regarding Eva. Let me just give you the most intense piece of this puzzle right out of the gate to set the stage. We are going to see Eva, a young woman who has literally just survived a near-death experience, look her own mother in the eye and tell her to completely forget about her father. Yes, you heard that right. Eva's going to tell Leslie to let Ted go, effectively cutting off her own lifeline to her dad just to stop her mother's toxic spiral. It is a heartbreaking, gut-wrenching sacrifice, and it is going to completely shatter the family dynamic as we know it. Now, let us back up and break down exactly how we get to this devastating boiling point, because every single step of this journey is loaded with psychological trauma. It all starts when Carlton brings Ted a deeply disturbing update concerning Eva. Now, we all know Carlton has been monitoring her physical recovery after that terrifying liver transplant. But what Carlton is about to lay on Ted is not about stitches, rejection rates, or physical therapy. It is about her mind. Carlton is going to make it painfully clear that after everything that has happened, Eva's problems are no longer just about a jagged scar or the physical exhaustion of surviving a massive surgery. Her psychological state has become incredibly heavy, dense, and fragile. We are talking about a severe mental decline that is going to make her treatment and recovery infinitely longer and far more complicated than anyone originally anticipated. If you ask me, this is a long time coming. Think about what this poor girl has been through. She almost bled out internally during a catastrophic tornado, woke up with a massive surgical wound, battled intense body dysmorphia, and carried the crushing guilt of knowing Kat suffered severe complications just to save her life. That is a mountain of trauma for anyone, let alone someone so young. Up until now, Ted has been trying so hard to help his daughter understand that she needs to care about her mental health instead of just hyper-focusing on fixing the physical marks on her body. We have seen those scenes, right? We have seen Ted looking absolutely heartbroken, watching his little girl crumble into a million pieces, desperately trying to comfort her and pull her out of the dark void she has been sinking into. He loves her so much, and you can see the desperation in his eyes every time he looks at her and realizes he cannot just put a band-aid on her soul. But here is where the situation gets completely wild and honestly incredibly frustrating. What Carlton tells Ted is supposed to be a massive wake-up call. Carlton is basically holding up a mirror and telling Ted that Eva is going to need long-term, intensive psychological treatment and, most importantly, the stable, unwavering companionship of her family. She needs a rock-solid foundation. But ironically, tragically, right at the exact moment Ted desperately wants to be that solid pillar of support for his daughter, his relationship with Leslie takes another massive nosedive into the abyss. Let us be real for a second, guys. Leslie has been an absolute tornado of chaos herself lately. Between her meltdowns over the clinic, crashing hospital press conferences, and aggressively throwing herself at Ted while completely disrespecting his relationship with Shanice, she has pushed Ted to his absolute breaking point. Ted has finally made the firm, non-negotiable decision that he wants absolutely nothing to do with Leslie anymore. He is done. He is washing his hands of her toxic drama. But in doing so, he is inadvertently creating a catastrophic ripple effect. Because he is cutting off Leslie, he is creating an environment where Eva is forced to face a truly agonizing truth. The father she so desperately hoped would be by her side is no longer going to be a consistent daily presence in her and her mother's life. This is where my heart just shatters for Eva. Imagine being in her shoes. You are broken. You are terrified. Your body does not feel like your own. And the two people who are supposed to protect you cannot even be in the same room without the air turning toxic. So what does Ava do? She does what so many children of messy divorces do. She chooses to protect herself by preemptively rejecting the support. Instead of begging Ted to stay, instead of clinging to her father, she accepts that Ted has made his choice. She looks at the situation, sees the absolute mess that is her parents' dynamic, and decides she has to be the adult in the room. Eva makes the monumental decision to tell Leslie that she needs to do the exact same thing. Eva wants her mother to drop Ted, to forget him entirely, and to focus solely on helping her get through this incredibly dark period. Listen, when a child has to look at their mother and say, "Stop chasing my dad so you can help me survive," that is a level of pain that is hard to even comprehend. It makes the entire storyline so much more tragic because Eva is the one who needs the most stability right now. She should have both of her parents standing, united by her hospital bed, holding her hands and telling her everything is going to be okay. Instead, she is witnessing this bitter separation and taking the emotional bullets for both of them. Eva's advice to Leslie to just forget Ted is such a glaring, painful sign that she is growing up through pure agony. She is accepting the loss of the father she still desperately needs, simply so her mother will stop getting hurt and stop spiraling out of control. It is a sacrifice born out of pure exhaustion. She cannot heal her body and her mind while constantly worrying about her mother's unrequited obsession with her father. And this, my friends, is exactly why this upcoming meeting between Carlton and Ted is so incredibly crucial. Carlton is not just acting as a doctor here. He is stepping up as the voice of reason. I have a strong feeling Carlton is going to force Ted to face a very uncomfortable reality. Carlton is going to look Ted in the eye and make him realize that even though he has every right to abandon his toxic relationship with Leslie, his responsibility and his emotional duty to Eva is a completely separate entity. Ted cannot let his disdain for his ex-wife bleed into his role as a father. If you ask me, Ted needs this harsh reality check. He needs someone to shake him by the shoulders and say, "Your daughter is drowning and you are too busy building a wall to keep your ex out to notice that your kid is on the wrong side of the bricks." Meanwhile, let us talk about Leslie's reaction to all of this, because Eva's raw confessions are going to hit Leslie like a freight train. Hearing her own traumatized daughter tell her to give up on the fantasy of a reunited family is going to force Leslie into a massive emotional corner. Leslie is going to feel as though she absolutely cannot move forward, cannot even begin to be the mother Eva needs unless she finally addresses and fixes the mistakes of her past. She is going to have this brutal epiphany that the present cannot be magically altered by her sheer willpower or manipulation. The past she shared with Ted is exactly that, the past, and she needs to leave it buried. For the first time, we might actually see Leslie put her daughter's mental survival above her own selfish romantic desires. It is going to be a bitter pill for her to swallow, but if she wants to save Eva, she has to let Ted walk away. But guys, it is not all doom and gloom, thank goodness. Because right in the middle of this massive family storm, we have a beautiful ray of hope in the form of Isaiah. Isaiah has been trying so hard to be patient, to navigate Eva's insecurities and her trauma. And we are going to see a truly profound moment between the two of them. Eva and Isaiah are going to sit down and have an incredibly frank, raw, and unfiltered conversation. Eva is going to lay it all out on the table, the ugly truths about her family, the toxic dynamic between her parents, her own crushing insecurities, and how all of this is impacting their romantic relationship. You know how sometimes a crisis can either break a couple apart or forge them in fire? Well, this conversation is going to be the fire that forges them together. By being completely honest about her brokenness and the messy reality of her family life, Eva is going to allow Isaiah to truly see her, not just the brave survivor, but the scared, exhausted girl underneath. And Isaiah, being the incredibly supportive guy he is going to step up. This shared vulnerability is going to help them bridge the massive gap that her trauma had created. It is going to pull them closer together, giving Eva at least one safe harbor in the middle of this raging psychological hurricane. So, to wrap this all up, we are looking at a storyline that is going to test every single emotional boundary these characters have. Ted has to figure out how to be a father without being a partner to Leslie. Leslie has to figure out how to be a mother without obsessing over Ted. Carlton has to play the heavy and deliver the harsh truths. Isaiah has to be the anchor. And poor Eva has to navigate the darkest corners of her own mind while trying to manage the adults around her. It is brilliant, it is messy, and it is going to make for some of the most compelling television we have seen in a long time. I cannot wait to see how these incredible actors bring this intense, emotional script to life. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think Ted is being selfish by cutting Leslie off right now, or is Eva making the right call by pushing him away? Drop your opinions, and I will catch you in the next one.